What is your favorite anime?
Mine's Skrillex.
Skrillex.
I'm so distanced from human sensibilities and stuff.
Was getting caught part of your plan?
Put your tray tables up and your seat in the full upright position, because this is the Flight Plan, the official podcast of Big Guy for You, Scanlations, Japan's #1 Bane posting manga scanlation podcast. Join the flight crew, Tom and Aidan, as we bantz about all the anime, the manga, and the scanlation content. That theme song is getting me pumped up every time. What are we talking about today, Tom?
Today's episode is kind of not a compendium, a complimentary, what's the word I'm looking for? Companion piece, that's it.
Ooh, there you go.
To last week's episode where we were talking about how to learn Japanese, and I feel that we did an insufficient job on that, so this is like kind of an episode-long corrections corner, if you will.
I like to think of it more as a sequel. Like, the first one was so good, we had so much positive feedback. They're like, please give us any more kernels of entertainment and wisdom that you can offer. We're like, we can double down and we can talk 2 episodes about how to learn Japanese.
That's very optimistic. I like your framing.
Yep.
You ain't got no yes and for that. You ain't got no yes and for that.
Well, okay.
That was so perfect, dude. I like.
Yes
I teed
and.
it up. Yes and before we get into it.
Yes and let's get a correction corner. Yeah.
Hey, there's no lag this week. You did that on purpose. Talking over me like that. So I believe actually that this is the first week that you have an item. So. Would you like to go first to kind of celebrate
So I'm going to yes and you into something that you're going to say yes and back to you.
I can do it. I can start. I'm being courteous.
My thing is not so much a correction corner, but a comment about something I said last week. And I said that I reply to every YouTube comment. Well, last week, Nick Kai or Nick Key. I mean, it almost sounds like the name Nikki, but that's a girl's name. And I refuse to believe that any girls listen to this podcast. Anyway, he said, Aiden, where's my reply now? And he got me because I didn't have notifications on. And it took
that's shameful.
I know. It took me several days to reply. And I'm going to have to Sudoku now to reclaim my honor with ritual suicide.
You'll be in good company, though, because I had to Sudoku the other day. I even did a corrections corner on it where I forgot to fill in a speech bubble. So now we have both Sudoku'd. Our Sudoku tally is 1 each. We should have like some kind of betting pool. Who has to Sudoku the most?
More? Yeah, exactly. I can go forward and not only get back to 0, but I can put ourselves in the goodwill of the passengers. So while I'm there, this week we actually had a ton of user comments come in, and I was bombarded with them. And the outpouring of support, later that day, that Nikki decided to post. Longtime passenger Charlie Saint asks if Hayaka removes Kuroku's negativity, will he die? To which the answer is, it would be very painful.
Extremely painful.
Well, okay, so let's back to -1.
You're back to 1.
I'll kill myself.
Are these real comments?
Yes, that's a real comment.
Oh, beautiful.
Here's another real comment. FF7522 drops in to say that he finds this podcast ridiculous, but it's right up his alley, and we're happy to have you on board. And we've also got Milesta. That's a real name. Yeah, Milesta or
probably
Milesta.
Like me Lesta.
Yeah, okay. Well, what?
My Lesta? Like your Lesta.
He was dropping some good info about the love Reddit is giving us, all the hard work of BG4U, and they were sad to see Hayaka end, but we've got some fans over there. So that was my attempt to get back into the goodwill of the fans. And in a lapse of judgment, I might suggest that if you want to shout out on next week's episode, you might be able to leave a comment in the YouTube. We might be able to oblige. I already know that I will regret that suggestion, though. So
why?
We'll see. I don't know.
No, it'll work out. It's good.
It'll probably work out realistically in that nobody leave any comments. And that's how it'll be.
I'll have to make a YouTube account just to make a comment if nobody else leaves a message.
We're going to get a bunch of people like, I'll be the one comment. Please don't. Like,
I'll leave yourself a comment. It'll say something like, Tom is the best, Aiden not so much.
And And well, that's my correction corner for the week.
All right, time for mine. I've got 3, so buckle up, strap in, seat tables, whatever. Get them upright,
Tray tables
whatever
up.
our thing is.
Seat in the full upright position.
That's right. It's the Weird Al
if
song.
you crash, you'll be all right.
You'll look good. So number 1, this is so minor. Like even I had to I forgot about this. I was confused last week what game I was mining sentences from, Xenosaga or Xenogears. It's Xenosaga. Wow. Next item.
God, this is the cutting edge content as why we're Japan's #1 podcast.
This whole segment is inspired by the most autistic podcast I've ever listened to. It's called Legacy Music Hour. They play NES tracks, like music, and then they talk about it. And one of the hosts is so into it. He's so knowledgeable, so autistic. He corrects the tiniest little things. So I'm inspired by that.
We need to
I love the show though. It's great.
We got to start incorporating timestamps. At 6:26, I once said.
I'm gonna do it next time. Number 2, this is a formal apology to all the passengers, and to you, and to me.
To ourselves.
At least last episode, and probably the episode or 2 before that, I suspect, we did not mention Digimon once.
Oh no.
I know this is Japan's #1 Digimon podcast, so we're slipping. I apologize. My third correction, which isn't actually a correction, it's more of astonishment. So just something I wanted to point out. I was really surprised. I saw 5 comments maybe talking about that barking up the wrong tree pun, and they were all positive comments. I don't get it. I thought it was a terrible pun. People like it.
So we both came up with that pun separately.
Sure.
When we were faced with the raw translation, and we're both like, what's a tree flavored pun that we could do? I think it's a great pun. Everybody seems to agree with me. I think that is bonus points for me. I think I've redeemed myself.
No, how would that help you?
Because my taste is correct.
Nah. Because I came up with the translation first, so I get the point, if anything.
Yeah, but I came up with it separate as well at the same time.
It was later.
It's like the monkey brain theory, crowd consciousness.
Meme with
magic.
the washing the coconuts, the 100 monkeys, and then the 101.
And they write Shakespeare. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They all learned how to write Shakespeare at the exact same time.
That's how that goes.
I hope you guys know what we're talking about.
This is such a deep cuts podcast. You have to keep up. You have to be on the cutting edge of memology to even fight in the arena.
Yeah, I don't have a good segue for that, but I think before we actually get into the raw meat and potatoes, I have to tangent off a little bit more. I want to do the kvetching corner. Or the complaint corner, if you want to be more actually I guess that would be less kosher. I was gonna say more kosher. Whatever, if you want to be whatever. So this is so sad. This is the first time I think that I've had to pay money for the raws of Antarctica Girls. We're recording on a Tuesday right now, and it came out today, the new chapter. And previously, I've been able to get it through the free preview of the whole magazine. Mm-hmm. Not today. The preview is 80 pages, and the chapter starts on page 380. So
that's a bummer.
It's sad.
This is the first time that we've actually have to use the money that George Soros has been paying us to produce this podcast.
Second, actually, because I bought Tsurugi no Nai, the raws, but yeah, I'm now $4.73 more poor, or poorer, if you will.
The poorest.
And I just wanted to kind of get my plight out there, and
it's a great time to pitch
the heartstring.
Yeah, to pitch our non-existent Patreon, and paywall members will be able to see behind the scenes in our post-show episodes,
which I still contend that they're not a thing.
It's pretty good. It's like the Tsukihime anime. It doesn't exist.
I don't know what that means.
It's a really old meme. I'm talking 2004 vintage.
Oh, okay. The only old memes I know are Mudkip, Rickroll.
What about Chocolate Rain?
Others. Chocolate Rain. I forgot that was even a meme. I thought it was just art. We should probably look away from our mics as we transition into the actual topic here. So I guess I'll get started then, because I'm not sure about your prep on that.
Zero.
Yeah. I actually did know that. I didn't want to be so blunt about it.
I'm the foil character.
Today's episode is roughly based on a text document that I wrote 5 years ago, I believe.
Don't say you love the podcast if you haven't read the light novel.
So this is the light novel that I wrote for one of my friends who wanted to learn Japanese. So I kind of gave him like a step-by-step roadmap kind of thing of how I did it, if I did it, to reuse that joke, how I would recommend he should change.
Little friend can't be this ignoramus.
Yeah, it's exactly that. That's the name of the light novel. Yeah. So I figure for this episode we'll just kind of go through it, kind of give you guys more of an idea, talk about more resources and websites, kind of in depth ish. We'll go from there. So step 0, that's how I've numbered it, is Anki. If you remember from last episode, we talked about it. It's that flashcard program. Everything I do basically is through Anki, and I recommend it. I'm not going to belabor that anymore. We talked about it last time. Let's see. Step 1 was to learn kana, which is like the alphabet. And again, that and step 2, kanji. We talked about those a bit, so I won't go through them too much. I did have this joke I thought was kind of funny. I said, after you learn kana, avoid romaji like the plague. Romaji is like the Roman alphabet. What we use are ABCs, but it's like spelling out Japanese words. You know what I mean, right? Like baka, B-A-K-A, like that's romaji. And
are you reading this or are you talking to me?
I'm talking. I'm talking to you.
I thought this was all stuff you had written. I thought you were reading this verbatim. I'm like,
no,
do I
can you tell No. But this next part I will read verbatim. I'll also read it verbatim.
That's going in the supercuts. We got the soundboard.
On the topic of romaji, I said, they're not easier or nicer or, but I can remember the words easier in romaji. Or, but Romaji says he loves me. He just only knows how to show it through violence. Domestic abuse is no joke. Don't laugh at that. All right, so yeah. For kanji, we talked about remembering the kanji by James, I don't know, F. Heisig. I'm going to guess a random middle name every time. But something that I left out was another site that you might want to use, kanji.kohi.com, K-O-O-H-I-I. It has its own built-in flashcard system for the kanji. It's built around that book, Remembering the Kanji. So it's like a really good companion site to use. The main advantage of it is that for each kanji, all the users have their own like stories, and they're kind of like updoodled like on Reddit, right? Oh, everyone's favorite website.
I only get just my dankest memes from 9gag. And
Night Gag Army reporting in. I'm ashamed to admit this, like last weekend, maybe a couple times last week actually, I went through like YouTube rabbit holes of like top 10 proof that time travel's real, or like top 10 crazy stories you'll never believe.
Top 10 sites like Watch Mojo.
Top 10 YouTube channels like Watch Mojo. That would be pretty good. Then it started to recommend, like I started to watch creepypastas, and then it's like top 15 scariest things ever posted on Reddit. I'm like, what scary stuff gets posted on Reddit? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I stubbed my toe. I don't know.
This says a lot about our society.
What doesn't it, and how?
Gang weed, rise up.
I thought that might be a gang weed thing, but I wasn't sure. I was kind of confused. I love the pleading nature of the gang weeders. It's almost like every time I read it, it's like he's saying, please gamers, when will you rise up?
Yeah, he's like, please Veronica, please take me out on a date.
Gamers rise up. The most oppressed minority in the world. It's gamers.
This isn't a fairy tale. This is real life. You chose to date a dumb jock over a gamer like me. We've had enough. Gamers,
a real
rise
gentleman.
up. This meme was created by gang weed.
the new counter meme, Christian dads against gang weed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's one guy. I like to think he makes every single meme of both sides, and he has no end game. He's a monster.
Do you really think you can defeat the government, the media, Christian dads, Jesus, and Christians?
And the picture was Reagan's face, like half opacity with like Jesus' face. Yeah. Like it was 2 and 2.
Gang weeders, rise down. Like if you agree.
Rise down. I don't know why, but that like Christian Dads reminds me of Progressive Dad, that Twitter guy.
Oh, that's a great account too. These are all great resources if you're trying to learn Japanese.
Yeah, or some others that you might do. I don't think we talked about grammar a whole lot last time, but there are two sites that I would probably recommend for grammar. One is guide2japanese.org, I believe it's called. You can search it, find it by Tae Kim. That's Tae space Kim. I don't know, maybe that's Korean or something, the guy's name. But that's a pretty good, it's like a free online textbook about Japanese grammar. Personally, I found it to be a little bit bare bones back at least then. Maybe now it's better. But if you're like really autistic, if you really like grammar, that kind of thing, verbose explanations, I would say check out imabi.net, IMABI. This guy gets so in depth, even on lesson 1, talking about all these different grammatical terms and stuff. It's really hard to follow. I like it. It's the Dark Souls of Japanese grammar guides, I would say.
Excellent. That'll be the clip that I use for the YouTube.
Dark Souls remastered.
The Dark Souls of Gang Weeb.
Oh, I want to throw in some cautionary warnings here. Duolingo, I would say avoid it like the plague. It's not good, especially for Japanese.
Agree. And I know we talked about Rosetta Stone before, and that's not that cool either. I feel like these things just get big because,
memes.
People know them. Yeah, it's like a meme at this point.
And they're very like friendly UIs. Like it's very like normie presenting kind of stuff.
Yeah, they've got the app for it. They're all ready to like, yeah, I'm like, I learned this on my lunch break or on my commute as I commute to the quad. Like, it's like you're not learning anything.
Commute to the quad, where he goes, plays hacky sack and plays his guitar.
With the King Weed, yeah.
He's got his little tin can for donations. Duolingo, apparently, like some languages are good, but Japanese is really bad. Like I looked into it recently a few months ago, and it's so bad. Like they don't teach you any writing; they just expect you to know it, kind of. I mean, they do kind of teach you like the letters, but they don't, or the characters, but they don't tell you how to write them or anything. One lesson, kind of early on-ish, where they start throwing kanji at you, and it's like the difficulty curve. That's the real Dark Souls. It starts at like 0, and then it just like smacks you in the face. Oh, I just unplugged my. Hold on, I unplugged my earphones. Okay, we're back.
You give me a lot of things. You're giving me a lot of things to edit.
I'm doing hand motions, and I just like knocked him out of the headphone jack. Let's see, Memorize. I would also recommend against.
Hey,
I don't know why. I just don't like it. I don't like it. It's personal preference.
I'm going to counter signal that. I like Memorize. I used it a lot for my stuff. I like it because they have the typing capabilities to answer flashcards. You're not like picking a selection like you would be with Anki. How do you spell cat? And you have to type out Neko. And it's, to me, I like the typing. It feels like I'm getting stuff done. And you can navigate the entire, like, it's more of a game. And you go into a learning mode, and then you can navigate it completely with the keyboard, which I don't know if you guys are elite hackers like myself, but it's much more fun when you don't have to use a mouse. You really feel like you're getting into it. Like you're in a groove. You're like taka 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 1, no, enter. It's more like a game. It's like a lot of fun. It's like one of those typing games, but you're doing it in another language. I learned 1,000 Hanzi in just a couple months by just doing the Memorize stuff. I actually like Memorize a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to personal preference. And, I mean, each deck is of varying quality because it's all user-submitted content.
That's true.
And you can make your
I made
own
my
as
own
well.
for that, yeah. So the ones that are really bad are probably from me.
Japanese has, I mean, it's really popular. It's just online in general. So you will find a lot of garbage decks. That's the problem with Memorize. I feel like there are good ones there. And if you like the platform, then that's great. You're off to the races. But you could easily get stuck with a bad deck.
But, I mean, it's always easy to switch to a new one if you can't. Well, I guess the problem is you wouldn't know if it's bad until you get into it. But you can always switch to that.
Sure. But you could do like a lesson or two.
A lot of the reasons why people like Duolingo and like these things is because it gamifies it. Memorize is the best one that I've seen. Like you get levels up, you get like points. They used to have a flower motif where you would sprout the words and they'd grow into flowers, but I think they did away with that for like a spaceship theme.
It's spaceships on the app, but it's flowers on the website still. It's weird.
It doesn't make any sense, but you know, they're cool guys. It's actually made by a famous polyglot who knows like 20 different languages, and he's really good. I think it's like Ben Wheatley or something. I can't remember.
I don't know. I remember hearing about it on Tim Ferriss's podcast years ago.
Right. Yeah, he did do a guest star on that.
But I also might be thinking of the WordPress guy.
Automatic, yeah. He's on there a couple times for Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that in a while. I might check it out eventually. I have things on here that I recommended to my friend that I've never tried out. I don't even know if they're still around, like for listening and speaking. One site is called italki, italki.com. I think it costs money, but it's like you Skype with like language.
Well, you know what they say is no talkie before I've had my coffee.
Is that meme still around? Because that was a flash in the pan. I feel like
I've seen it before. I mean, recently. Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I do
it's
too.
It's a good one.
And #1 HR rep.
Well, is that the same one where do they use a picture where it looks like the Hillary Pepe? Do you know that one?
I've seen the coffee meme with the yeah. I don't know if it's that one, but yeah.
I always thought that was a funny Pepe.
Oh, it's a great one.
We've run out of websites, but I do have one final. Oh wait, no, we haven't run out of websites. Now I want to talk about tools that you can use. And the #1, if you're on a computer, it actually is a different name depending on what browser you use, but it's like a browser extension called Rikai, Chan, or Kun, or Sama. I've seen all different honorifics.
Miku-chan.
No, it's Rikai. It's called like a pop-up dictionary, a hover dictionary, something like that. So you turn it on, and then you just hover your mouse over any Japanese text, and it'll show you like translations, like dictionary definitions. It's invaluable.
Easy mode. Yeah,
it's the best.
I used one called like Pop-Up Chinese, and that was fantastic. I would never, if you're trying to learn another language, that's like going to be one of your #1 resources, because you're probably spending all your time at a computer anyway.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that around. You can go to all your favorite Japanese image boards and read their spicy memes that you won't understand, but you'll know the transliteration of what it means.
All their memes are ASCII, that's as I understand it. So you can understand those. It's so weird. They're stuck in like the 80s or something.
Well, it's still
like
very
ASCII memes.
esoteric. Like you're like, who are these characters? And they all have a deep lore that is not readily evident from looking at them sitting behind a desk.
Yeah, I one of these days I want to learn about all the weird Japanese memes and stuff.
Take a course in it. Maybe we can do an episode about that. We'll all study and then
Hey,
we'll
that's
come
an
together.
interesting idea. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. You should write that
Japanese memes. Yeah, well, okay.
down. Let's see. In terms of other resources, there are a few websites that I use a lot in terms of like this one. The first one I'm about to say is more like a manga translation specific kind of thing. It's called thejadednetwork.com, and this is like a repository of sound effects and their translations, and you can search using the Japanese or like the English. So useful because like Japanese has so many sound effects. I mean, if you don't know them, you don't know them. Like a lot of these aren't in dictionaries.
Mm-hmm.
Like here on recent activity, Dokin. I don't know what that is. This is a warning gunshot in the above page of Gintama. Like, okay.
Wow, okay. That
Or
makes
like
sense.
the famous JoJo one is like go, 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 go for menacing. I'm pretty sure that was made up for JoJo. Some of these are just made up. Like that one became popular, so you start to see it everywhere.
What does POMF translate to?
Honestly, I'd have to see the original. You know what? Actually, I'll type it in right now. Returns 0 results.
Oh, it's too edgy.
But yeah, I mean, especially if you want to get into scanlation, like that's a really good site, thejadednetwork.com for sound effects. I think I have one more resource website to recommend here. www.jdic, World Wide Web, Japanese Dictionary, I guess is what it stands for.
Are you typing www dot that, or is it
No. Actually, the URL is nihongo.monash.edu.
Oh my god.
So just put it into your dog pile or your Ask Jeeves. www.jdic. This is so good because like if you ever see like some kanji that's kind of like blurry or something, you can't quite make it out, or you just have no idea what it is or how it's pronounced. This has a multi-radical kanji search thing. How many is it? Maybe like 30 by 10 grid of different radicals. They each have a checkbox, and you can say like, okay, this one's here, this one's here.
It's
and
got
then
like 4 strokes, so I know it's probably in this, type deal. Yeah, it's still a pain to use.
Oh, it is. But it's the best. I mean, like, you can't, that's not really a process that you can improve on. That's the best the technology will get.
Unless you have an
really
actual
helpful
Japanese man sitting next to you all day.
Yeah, which, I mean, you can do.
It's more expensive, and it's frowned upon in a lot of places.
Yeah, it depends. Check with your local Japanese consulate and see maybe if they have any for rent. But I think I've burned through all of my recommendations. I do have one more non-resource recommendation, though, and this one's I really highly recommend this. To keep a log, like a diary, if you will, of everything that you do, just to kind of track your progress. Like on mine, I actually have, like, at the start of every entry, I have statistics that I'm tracking, like, how many sentences I have in my Anki deck, or I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also super important as well. I mean, they say when you're learning something, I mean, you're going to make such small, incremental, gradual progress that it's going to feel like you're not going anywhere. Like, I mean, they also say to do that with, like, fitness and stuff, because you're like, I look back and I'm like, wow, it's like, that's what I used to bench. Like, I feel like I've been benching the same weight that I've been doing for years now, but apparently I was a lot weaker a couple of years ago. I mean, it's cool to see, look back, and then if you get really autistic, you can put it in a spreadsheet and, like, graph your statistics, and that's when you reach even further beyond.
That's what I like about Anki, because it does have a lot of graphs, and I look at those a lot. I've kind of been, actually, since I started scanlating again, I've been slacking on my Anki a lot, so my graphs aren't that nice looking. But back when I was into it really hardcore, man, those graphs were my lifeblood. They, like, spurred me on so much.
I love looking at, like, analytics and things. Like, you see that mountain climb high, and you're like, wow, man, I got to keep that momentum up. I got to keep it going. Like, you want more points. I mean, we're wired as humans to have more points. And like you said, that's why Anki was awesome for you, and that's why I loved seeing the stats on Memrise, and I like graphing my bench press and things like that, because you want to increase those points. You want more points, and you want those YouTube views. So everybody go leave a comment.
I've actually taken it to the next level of, like, real autism. I actually forgot about mentioning this, otherwise I'd have it up in front of me.
You 3D print your graphs.
Oh, dude, if I had a 3D printer, I would definitely. And, like, put those on a shelf.
Oh,
that's actually a cool idea.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Write that down. We'll create a business out of that. No, I have a spreadsheet that I made where I track any Japanese thing that I do, and I assign a score to each task, and then I have, like, a grand total score.
Wow.
And then
for the passengers at home, this is the first time. This is the first time I'm hearing about this as well. So is that like, I read 2 mangas today? Is that like?
Yeah. So, like, each page is, like, 2 points or something. Each page that you read. I threw scanlating in there. Each page I scanlate, just to motivate me to do it, so I could score up some easy points and not feel bad about skipping on my Anki reviews. But, like, I have, like, adding an Anki card, like, reviewing a new one, just a normal review.
So, so you're dealing in lots of points. You're not like.
My goal for this year, I think, was 100,000.
How many points is, like, ordering sushi?
None. I don't eat sushi. No, I think my criterias were, other than the Anki related ones, reading manga / books. I don't have watching anime or anything on there, because I do use subtitles like a filthy pleb. So I figure it's cheating to count that. Scanlating. Shoot, I thought I had more.
I guess that's it. I guess that's all the Japanese activities you do.
I know there were more. Maybe playing video games was one.
Playing Pokemon.
One of them that's worth, like, a lot. I think it was like 5,000 or something. Telling anybody that I know Japanese, because this is a terrible metaphor, because I don't want to associate myself with this kind of thing. But it's like a gay person struggling with coming out. It's a secret that they have hidden the whole time.
Coming out of the Japanese closet.
At this point, like, I've gone so long without telling anyone that I can't. It's like sunk cost fallacy or something.
You're like, I got to take it to my grave.
But if I ever do, those points are there waiting for me. If it's like late December and I'm running low on my points for my yearly goal, maybe I'll have that in my back pocket.
You're gonna try and like awkwardly work it into a conversation, and it's gonna be way worse because now you're trying to force it.
Hey, friends and loved ones, I need points. So
Send out a email blast.
Turns out I'm actually a world-renowned scanlator and master of Japanese.
Japan's #1. I'm also a famous internet celebrity.
Yeah, you might know of me on PewDiePie. I run a YouTube channel. Well, how about we segue? I think that's all I had.
I was trying to think of a segue for it.
There's nothing to do.
No. Well, you said reading manga.
Wow.
You said reading manga gives you points. What about reading the manga minute for this week? Did you put points in there? When I tell you
no, because I read it in English.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I didn't know. So I normally pick Tom doesn't read manga. Only I do.
Sometimes.
So normally I'll pick a couple of different mangas. I'm like, hey, which one do you want to suffer through? And then
No. Hold on. That's a rigged game, and you know it. You send me like 5 that are like ecchi trash. Like my first girlfriend is a Gyaru or something, or it's like I can't stop getting raped by my hair on the waifus or something like that. And then you send one that's
sure
like
that's one.
Then you said one that's like kind of close to socially acceptable.
I'm looking out for the passengers, man. I know what they want.
Yeah, but we've got that Christian podcast image to maintain.
Yeah, well, what's more Christian than Japanese manga?
Especially this week's, which is about a non-Christian god. So
this
tell
week,
them what it is.
It's okay. Well, see, this is the worst part for me because I don't speak any of this. It's Siwaki ya Kitsu no Senko-san, which is butchered. It's the everyday life of Nakano, who's a salaryman working for like this exploitative company. And he's suddenly intruded upon by a kitsune, which is those little fox girls.
Kitsune,
Yeah, well, same thing.
They might know it by that name instead.
Senko-san is an 800-year-old young wife. Whether it's cooking or cleaning.
Young, like I picture, that succubus male. Like
that's exactly.
She's 800-year-old young.
Yeah. Whether it's cooking, cleaning, or special service, she'll heal his exhaustion with her tender, in quotes, care. Now I read that so the emphasis on the things that are in quotes, like I don't know what that means, but it's not even esche. It's just like It's just cute. It's cutesy.
It's a dangerous manga, I think.
In what fashion?
Well, first of all, maybe I missed this. Maybe my reading comprehension is terrible, and I'm just a brainlet. But why does she start to live with him? She said something like, "You're my type," and that's the whole backstory.
So she's hanging out in Kitsune Godland, and they're like, There's a lot of suffering in the world. She's like, well, I'm bored. I'll go do something about it. And she's looking through all the things. It's like, hey, look, that guy's suffering, and he's my type, so I'll go live with him and be his wife. And that's it.
First of all, how is he anybody's type? He's like the perfect self-insert.
Yes.
Hates his life, single, miserable, eats cup ramen every day.
He's got like
bad
5 o'clock shadow everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's nobody's type. Terrible. This is dangerous
Somebody's
for
type.
people reading this. No, not a cute 800-year-old fox girl. God,
it's true.
Not her type. It's mind poison. It gets you into that mindset where you're like, yeah, that could be me.
Well, this is kind of like this is how the Japanese, I think it's a government plot. It's insidious. Like they're sponsoring like all these mangas and animes now that are like showing like a loving family, like because they want you to reproduce because they're having population problems. It's like that was that popular anime last year or so where it's like, I can't believe my wife is this whatever. Who knows what it is? But
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's some anime.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like he comes home and she's cooking on stuff, and they go out to grocery shop, and it's cute. Later on, I know you don't read the whole thing. There's about 16 chapters out, and later on,
I'm 3 chapters deep. I've read 3 chapters.
Yeah. So later on, I think it's like chapter 8 or 10 or something. Another fox, Legal Loli, comes to hang out with him at his place. And it's like, I don't see why he gets 2 waifus, though, when us proletariat are in such dire needs. We need a form of waifu redistribution. If you vote for me in 2028, I promise a fox waifu for every passenger. Vote for
Wow,
Aidan.
that's a big promise.
I know. Well, I'm gonna renege on it like all campaign promises. No, it's great. He also has. I don't know if you got to this chapter where his neighbor's upset that they're being loud.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
so
chapter 2.
She comes over and they woo her with food, and she's like, "Oh, it's like it quickly, easily coming over." And she's like, "Oh, are you? Is that cosplay?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm cosplaying, whatever." And it's like, but
Yeah,
but it's
some
like,
anime.
the fox wife has no, like, she'll float in the air in the grocery store or be like, yeah, I'm a fox god or whatever, kitsune, and the dude's like, no, don't say that in public, things like that. That's cute.
I thought it was kind of funny at the end of the neighbor chapter. He's complaining. He's like, now I have to watch that anime, to keep up appearances, because
Yeah.
like, why else would she be in that cosplay unless he was a fan?
And it's and she's like in it the whole time, so it's great. In fact,
Yeah.
I think the neighbor even makes another appearance later on. I haven't read the whole thing recently, just to get back into it for a little bit this episode, but I think she comes over and is like, "Oh, I've got more clothes for you to cosplay," and so it's another little episode.
So that's a cosplay episode
Yeah, which
where
is
they
a vital
show
staple.
let me guess, the track and field workout outfit, the
Probably.
schoolgirl
Schoolgirl.
swimsuit, and the schoolgirl. What are like all like the anime tropes of
I
like
mean all of
girl
those
outfits?
for sure. Yeah, I don't even get. So maybe I'll alienate some passengers. I don't get the appeal with the school swimsuit. It's not. Maybe I'm missing the cultural aspect of it. I didn't grow up with it. I think it's an ugly swimsuit and
Different strokes for different folks. I don't get the kindergarten outfit with the hard hat and the giant red backpack.
Well, what's to get? They just standard issue backpacks to everybody.
Yeah, but they always have like that weird yellow hard hat looking thing.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but I think
they-
maybe they
they're
issue
like,
that as well. It's always like when they're crossing the street.
They have like big, almost gown kind of shirts, like the light blue, like both genders of kids. It's weird.
Yeah, it's their uniform.
Yeah, but it's a weird design. That's what I'm saying. I understand the concept of
Yeah.
uniforms.
So I like to mention the scanlation company that does, or the scanlation team that's
You
going
always
to do.
call them companies.
Well, I treat this as a business, but that's doing our manga minute, and this week it's Stalker Scanlation, and they're pretty cool. You can find them on Manga Dex as well. Now that I'm looking through their stuff, they also do. I can't remember if this was one of the post or one of the prologue episodes that we did while we were practicing.
Right.
But they actually do one that's probably one of my current mangas, which is Senpai ga Uzu Kohai no Hanashi.
Oh
which,
no, that was one of our early manga
Yeah,
minutes.
like
Wait, no,
God
it wasn't. But you talked about it.
Yeah, God for like
Yeah, you even
forgive
said something
me
like that.
for my pronunciation there. But yeah, that's a fantastic manga. I really like that one a lot. And they do a lot of different mangas. Two dudes, there's Sova, and there's Motorized Rolling Hams, which I think he must be British. That's like a Rudy Tooty point and shooty. You can find
Cold on the cob.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look like they have a Discord, but they do have a website. Let's pull this up. Yeah, so
Dude,
they've
most
got a
people have Discords. Is that a thing?
Yeah, Moe Panda. Moe Panda
the new
Scans
IRC.
does. So they've got a blog spot, but it doesn't look like they use it too frequently. But you could probably find them on Manga Dex. Would be a good place to find them. It looks like they've got some comments there. So shout out to them. Thank you for all your good work.
Shout out. Let's see, I think there was one more thing I wanted to say though before we leave the manga minute.
That's fine.
See, I talked about how it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, I had another complaint about it.
What else is new?
So she doesn't know anything about, I guess, Earth, right? The modern
Sure.
era. How did she know? How did she see this guy and know like that he is her type? So she's obviously looking at Earth, right? But she still doesn't know normal Earth stuff.
Sure.
You can't square that circle.
Physically.
What?
Physically.
What do you mean?
Type physically.
Oh, is that what she meant?
Yeah, I guess.
I thought she's like, oh, I like the rundown, like suicidal salary man.
Because if they're suicidal, they won't leave me. Like that's no. I think it was.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think that it was implied that it's probably a little bit of the hardworking aspect, but also physically. I think that's what I got from it.
Okay, yeah, I'll buy that then. That kind of clears up that problem a little bit. It's still weird that physically he's anyone's type, but that's okay. It's a good self-insert.
Well, it's also it's drawn in a way that is whatever. Like, we don't know what they actually look like. This is a good point to bring up that's unrelated. It's that it's not my fault I'm not popular, where it's like she's drawn as a cute girl, so she would be popular in real life.
But she just has like dark circles under her eyes.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like
now she's ugly.
There's no ugly anime girls. That's the thing. And there's rarely ugly anime guys. Even the guys that they draw are like, oh, I'm the ugly guy in the class. It's like, well, you look like every other character in the manga, so what's up? Everyone
wants to draw nice looking characters, I guess.
Well, that's why you have to search from tags, and you have to say include fat old man.
Let's see. I want
mind break.
I want shonen pirates. I want adventure. I want fat old man. Just actually, they did that with One Punch Man. Have you seen that? It's like, I think it's actually a Chinese knockoff, like actually Chinese anime, where it's like a fat old guy who looks like he's like Saitama. His outfit.
That's hilarious. That would be great.
I think it's like wannabe hero or something like that.
That's great.
Just like fat old. Because soon enough we'll have to self-insert as that archetype. So they better start creating that manga.
They're paving the way.
I'm gonna start investing in fat old man.
It's a growing market.
I'm gonna call up my financial advisor guy, my investor.
Buy stocks, buy. Because we're only getting older and fatter. Like,
hey, take all my money out of all my stocks, put it all on fat old man. Are you sure? I as your financial advisor, I strongly suggest you don't do it.
You
Trust me on this.
Severe penalties if you remove your 401k. I don't care.
Do you know the kind of returns I'm gonna get?
It's Bitcoin 2.0, fat old man coin.
Ooh, we need to patent that.
It's gonna be great.
This might be a good time then, if we're talking about fat old man cryptocurrencies, to tell everyone where they can donate.
We don't have any place that they can donate. You can put a physical Bitcoin on a carrier pigeon and say, fly to Aidan, fly. And then they probably won't, because they don't know who I am. We joke about the Patreon, but there is no Patreon set up because we don't have anything to provide for you.
Yeah, sorry guys. I know you want to give us money, but can't do it. We won't let you.
Someday we will sell out, and all those behind the paywall will get all the post-show excellence and all the secret behind-the-scenes information.
We'll have to start doing that stuff then.
Yeah.
Which is why we don't have a paywall. That's one of the main reasons. I'm too ashamed to ask for money. Unironically. That's a joke. It's fine.
Well, that's why I will ironically set up a Patreon and ironically accept
Wink.
a monthly. Yeah, it's post-ironic. Post-ironic ironicy.
It's just genuineness at that point.
At what level of irony are you on, bro? But like, what level does it become full circle horseshoe theory genuine?
I think it's an even number of ironies. Like it's like
it's like probably a mathematical theory. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my PhD thesis is on. So,
Tom's laws of irony.
And I have to get it challenged next week, so I hope it goes well. This is all my pre-thesis practice right now. You're a scholarly stand-in, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Although my formal training was in pilot school.
Oh right, yes, of course.
Which is why before I'm going to do my doctoral thesis, I'm going to tell you where you can find all these podcasts. And one is on the RSS feed. That's anchor.fm, the-flight-plan. And that puts in the RSS. I'm pretty sure I say this every week, but it's probably not on iTunes. It does go on iTunes?
No.
Okay.
I thought you were saying it goes on the RSS because, that's how I get it.
It does go into the RSS, and I get it on Podcast Addict because I have an Android phone, and it downloads there, and it's awesome. And you get to see all the show notes and all the cool things. You can link out from there. You can also find us on YouTube, and if you want to leave us a comment and get a reply. This week it'll be quicker than it was last week, Nikki. And you can leave and talk to Aidan on the YouTube channel, which is the YouTube channel is Big Guy for You with the number 4, the letter U, or you can search for the Flight Plan Podcast. We also today, I saw this. If you go to YouTube and type in scanlation, we are on the front page.
Hold on, did you open up like a private window?
I did
to,
not.
Like, clear your stuff?
I was gonna add that as a caveat, but all the videos were super old and they didn't have very many views. So if it's not there for you there now, we will be soon on the front page for.
I told you this was a golden niche, dude.
We are the number 1 Japanese scanlation podcast, Bane flavored posting podcast.
Right, of course, de facto. Let's see, for my stuff, if you want to contact me, hit me up on probably mangadex.com, Big Guy for You, gab.ai/big guy numeral 4 letter U. Although I just heard recently that Gab DMs only last 24 hours. I don't know if that's true or not. So hopefully nobody's tried to DM me on that, because I don't check those every day. Just send me like a normal tweet, a Gab tweet.
An at reply is how all the kids are saying it.
You could actually send us tweets. Fill up the air real quick as I look up what the Twitter is. I don't use it, but
just
Big Guy for You scans.
Big Guy for You scans at.
You can
at
DM.
Twitter.
You know, I don't tweet, but
slide into those DMs.
Yeah, slide into them as we slide into, I guess, the cockpit to hijack the podcast.
And like I said earlier, my formal training is in flying, and my final thesis is to crash this plane with no survivors.
All right, cue the outro, but do it like 5 seconds ago to kind of like gradually play it in,
so we can like
fade it
into it. Yeah, it's like easing yourself into a pool or a hot tub.
To the sweet embrace of death. Like, oh, finally, it has arrived.